Good morning, class. Welcome to our weekly chat. We are trying this earlier in the week. Hopefully it's helpful to you. So we're going to talk about a couple things, and the first is that peer review of the literature review that is happening. First things first, if you are one of the people that has not submitted the peer review or the literature review, you need to do that now. You need to submit anything that you have, because if you choose not to submit anything, you automatically lose 50 points on this assignment. Automatically 50 points on a 150-point assignment. This is a big assignment. You must submit something to be reviewed by your peers. You must. It should be good, but if you are one of the people that hasn't submitted anything at this point, you need to submit something. Anything. Submit something, because you cannot complete the rest of the assignment unless you have first submitted something. If you haven't had a chance to look at the rubric already, I hope that you do so ASAP, because there are a couple of things to keep in mind on that. This is a 150-point assignment. 50 of the points are gathered from submitting a first draft of the literature review. That includes sufficient length and references. So 35 points from that, an additional 15 points from an audio recording created and uploaded of you reading your paper out loud. So that's 50 total points on you doing your literature review. Then you get 25 points per each peer paper that you do. You need to do 25 points for completing the rubric that is included in the assignment. It's not the rubric I use, it's a separate rubric. It says download student paper peer review rubric. It is multicolored. At the top, it is green, and then you have all these boxes. There's a content box, organization, writing style, grammar, signal phrases, format, etc. So you're gonna go through that rubric for each of those 2 peer papers. You're going to write in your comments and you're going to submit that back. You get 25 points for each of those that is done. Also, you don't just complete the rubric, you also need to go through in Microsoft Word and mark up their paper, make changes, suggestions, comments, all of those word review features that we talked about earlier in the semester. You must use them. You get an additional 25 points per paper that you do that for, up to 50 points. Remember, you need to review 2 peer papers, you need to do the rubric and the word review features. Only 50 points, so 1/3 of this assignment, which is still a lot of points, has to do with you submitting a literature review. But you are not permitted to review anyone else's lit review unless you have first submitted one. So please, if you have not, and there are some of you that have not, if you have not already submitted your draft lit review, do it right now. Stop whatever you're doing and submit what you have. It might not be perfect, but you will get 0 points on this entire 150-point assignment if you do not submit a literature review. You must submit a literature review. I should have written that down. I could have showed you. You must submit a lit review. You must submit something. You must submit something. Okay. You must review your 2 peer papers by Saturday, November 9th. There are no exceptions to this. If you do not understand the assignment, you need to tell me now that you don't understand the assignment. Today is November 5th. You have time. You do not have time on Friday night. You do not have time on Saturday. What if you send an email and it gets missed? What if I don't have internet? I cannot answer your question on Friday night or Saturday. I can answer your question on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I'm more than happy to. And if for some reason it gets missed, you can send a follow-up email and I will respond to you. It will be amazing. You can have your answers in advance. If you ever have any questions about assignments, please let me know in advance. If I answer your question but you still don't get it, please ask me again. I sometimes am unclear. I have read these assignments multiple times and have an idea of what I want. Maybe I'm missing details when I do it. Do not be afraid to ask again. Say, Sister Suker, you did not answer my question. I do not understand what you meant by that answer. That's totally fine. You can ask me the same question 500 times. I'm happy to answer it, hopefully differently every time, to the point where you understand what I'm saying. So if you have questions about this assignment, ask me today. Ask me tomorrow. Ask me Thursday. Do not ask me Friday or Saturday unless you've already asked multiple times and I still have failed to answer your question. Do not wait until the last minute. This assignment is worth a lot of points. Like, if you don't do this assignment, you will not get a great grade in this class. You need to do it. The majority of the points from this assignment come from reviewing your peers' work, come from the process of understanding how to review someone else's work. If your paper isn't perfect right now, that is okay. Turn it in. Turn it in right now. Please turn it in right now. I think I'm going to have a panic attack for you if you haven't turned it in right now. That being said, if you have not turned it in already, you will be losing points on that section because it was not submitted on time. That's okay. You're not going to lose all the points, so that's awesome. You can still get points and not do really poorly in this class. Please, please, please submit something. Okay. Now that we've emphasized, you are going to submit something, right? If you haven't already, you are going to. Make sure as you're reviewing your peers' work that you do a good, thorough job. You don't want to rush through it, partially because you're getting points on the quality of review that you do. You don't want to spend 5 hours. Probably 20 minutes per paper is reasonable, 30 minutes max. But spend time, look through this. It's not only beneficial to your peer, but it's beneficial to you. You can see what they did well and what they're doing wrong and incorporate that into your own paper. Make sure you do this well. If you have questions about how to use those word review features, let me know. These are things that you should be fairly comfortable with already, but if you're not, let me know. If you are one of those people that typically views all things in the online Office 365 viewer that is included in Outlook, you will not see any track changes or comments. Usually, maybe you got super lucky. So you need to actually download the draft of your paper to see the comments. I know there have been a couple issues when I send comments through that people say, what? I sent this to you, you did nothing to it, you just sent it back. Well, actually, it doesn't show up unless you download the paper. I don't know why it doesn't, but it doesn't unless you are looking at it in Microsoft Word. So the paper needs to be pretty marked up. Download it. You'll see all the markups. You can accept, reject any changes that you want, resolve those comments as needed. All right, once you have done that, I am happy to review your paper as well. So I am only happy to review your paper after you incorporate everything that your peers said. And I will go back and check what your peers said. And if you did nothing, then I will not do anything because that will be a waste of both of our time. You do not want me to say the same thing twice. That is not useful. So I am happy to review your peer or your literature review once you have incorporated that peer feedback. If you send me your literature review no later than Tuesday, November 12th at noon, Rexburg time, I will get you comments back by the end of the day, so by 11 p.m. on the 14th, which is Thursday. Incorporate all those changes your peers said, email it back to me. I will make comments. If you want, that's just an optional thing. You do not have to have me review it as well. Obviously, I will review it as part of your assignment feedback, but I won't go in depth. I won't make changes. I won't fix things. I'll just tell you what you need to fix, what you did well, things like that. But if that's an option that you want, if you want another set of eyes to look at it, I'm happy to go through. If I go through, please don't be alarmed that the comments are extensive. We want this to be good. I want, anytime I review your paper in advance, I want the comments to be constructive to you. I want you to be able to take what I said and raise your grade as much as possible. So that is why there are so many comments. It's not bad, it's just I'm going to be really nitpicky as I go through it. Also, that doesn't mean that I won't miss things as I go through that come up in the final paper, but theoretically, if you make those changes, you should get a higher grade on your final paper. So remember, if you would like that early instructor feedback, email. Do not send it through Canvas. Do not send it through the gradebook. None of those things. Email. Go into Outlook and email it to me as an attachment. Email it to me no later than November 12th at noon, and I will get it back to you no later than 11 p.m. on the 14th, which is Thursday. So hopefully you find that useful. The other big thing that we have lots of big things coming up. One of the big things we have coming up is JASP. You're going to want to make sure that you've downloaded JASP. JASP opens for you. If it doesn't open for you, let me know. We really want to address that issue in advance, not like next week. No, please download JASP in advance and make sure it opens. Download it, make sure it opens, start on the assignment after you finish reviewing your peers' stuff. You may have noticed this morning there is a separate post with 2 JASP videos. One goes through the JASP practice assignment that deals with fitness and which type of gym students prefer, and the other deals with lifetime sugar consumption, dental caries, and health expenditures per person. There are 2 videos. The first one deals with that practice assignment. The second video deals with the steps that you will need to go through to complete that paper. Both of these are meant to help prepare you for your data analysis of your own data that you should be collecting right now. Once you receive approval from the IRB, you need to start your data collection. As we said before, that survey needs to be open for 7 to 10 days. Remember, send the follow-up email, post whatever, however you send it out halfway through. And then close that survey at 7 to 10 days so you can begin your data analysis. You will most likely do this data analysis in JASP. I think you have to do it in JASP, but if there are aspects of it that you feel more comfortable using another program, I'm happy to let you do so. Whether it be Excel, SPSS, whatever you're most comfortable with and have access to, you are more than welcome to use. Also, Qualtrics will have a lot of those features built into it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel if Qualtrics is willing to do it for you. And that analysis side, then by all means use Qualtrics. But just keep that in mind. Once you receive approval from the IRB, that survey needs to go out so the data is coming in. We're not going to talk extensively about JASP in this because there are 2 videos where you get more JASP information than you wanted. Just keep in mind you need to use APA format in those papers that you will be using. APA format is important, even though it's actually not included on that rubric. All right, last thing we're going to talk about is the final lit review, which is due on Saturday, November 16th, which is actually next Saturday, which seems super far, but is actually really close. Yeah. That. So you are going to incorporate all of the feedback that you've received, including any early instructor feedback if you have requested that. So sorry that you're not going to get it back before the 14th, but you're not. You need to read the rubric very carefully on that assignment. Please, please, please read the rubric very carefully. One of the things that you will notice on the rubric is that the literature review is not your final research report. None of that data that you have collected should find its way into this literature review. The literature review is a review of previous data. You are reviewing secondary data. You have not collected any of this data beyond finding it out in the world of scientific research, bringing it in, citing it correctly. That is all the data collection you have done. This is not primary research. Anything from your survey is primary data. It is not included in the literature review. It does not matter that your data is not analyzed when you are doing the literature review because it's not part of it at all. It's not part of it at all. This is not the final research report. You're not saying what you did. You're just talking about this body of research. The literature review is what you turned in for the peer evaluation. This is where we are cleaning it up, making it beautiful, turning it in as a neat little package. If you are confused about how this fits into the final research report, you are not alone. Pretty much everyone's confused about that. The literature review becomes the introduction section of your final paper. It's basically the background information you need to understand so you know why your study was conducted, so you know which direction your study is headed, so you have a basic understanding of the topic, so when someone goes through and reads your report, they know enough. If you were just to say, my report's on heart disease and this is what I found. Cool. But if the person doesn't know enough about heart disease, your results are interesting but irrelevant. So this is adding relevancy to relevance to what you found. That is why we do the lit review. Review the rubric for the lit review. There are just 3 things I want to draw your attention to, and they are at the very bottom. These are the APA sections because APA is something that is easily overlooked, but in this class it is highly emphasized this semester. There are 60 points on this assignment related to APA formatting. There are 20 points under the body and content of the paper, includes items such as the running head, spacing, quotes, and font. 20 points for making sure that you use 12-point font, 1-inch margins, double space, Times New Roman. 20 points. It also includes that running head. You should be using the template that was provided for this. Delete all the extraneous items, but use that template because it has things like the running head and page numbers. Make sure when you use that template that you replace that running head. It should not say something like example running head should be 50 characters or less. It should be relevant to your project. Okay, there is a second 20 points available for citations are cited correctly in APA format. What are APA format citations? Well, they are parentheses at the end of whatever thought, sentence, section related to that source that have the author or author's last name, comma, year published. Unless you are using a direct quote, it does not include a page number. Keep that in mind. Parentheses, author, author's last name. Remember that at all thing, that rule, depending on how many authors you have, comma, year published, end of parentheses, period. That is what you do. You may want to use a signal phrase in some places. Then APA formatting of references. If you are using RefWorks, this shouldn't be that difficult. If you are one of those people that does not like to use RefWorks, that's cool too. But you must make sure that your references, your end of text references, are in APA format. You get 20 points for making sure the reference page is in APA format. 20 points on a 200-point assignment. There are 60 points related to APA formatting. That means your content could be subpar. Please don't make it be that because you will lose points on other sections. Your content could be subpar, but your APA formatting could be amazing and you will get 60 points in those categories. Make sure the APA formatting is awesome. This is a really easy way to boost your grade. 60 points. You need these 60 points. Trust me, all of you need these 60 points because why would you not take them? Okay. This is due on the 16th. Let me know if you have any questions about the literature review. If you have questions about the literature review, please make sure that you ask them by the 14th so that I have time to answer them. You have time to incorporate them. Do not ask questions about the literature review on the 16th. I cannot help you on the 16th. Also, I'm busy on the 16th, so I won't have my phone. But please, please, I'm begging you, please ask your questions in advance. I am happy to answer any questions, despite how grumpy my face and voice sound. I am happy to answer any questions in advance, but it's very hard to help you if you don't ask the questions until the due date has passed, or if you don't ask the questions until the day something is due. It is very hard to get the information to you, and it is very hard for you to get your questions answered and be able to incorporate that in a meaningful way and be successful on that assignment. Several things keep in mind. APA format, it's important. It's always important. JASP, there are separate videos for JASP. It is not included in this video. If you are not a video watcher, I highly recommend you become one for JASP. And number 3, if you have not already turned in your peer review or your literature review for the peer review, do that right now. Even if it is halfway done, even if most of it says, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Submit what you have and email me and say, Sister Sugar, I do not understand this ridiculous assignment. And we will work through that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good luck these next few days.